Hi, welcome. It's Canvas, the Niger-Delta Roundtable. I'm here once again, and we're discussing the future of this region blessed with hydrocarbon resources. As you may know now, every week we give time to reflecting on topics relevant to the development of the region and her people. On this episode, we're continuing in that tradition. I'm here and we're focusing on how to take this region to a more promising future. And the podcast is sponsored by the operator of the NMPC, Renaissance Total Energies Ajib joint venture. Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, headquartered in Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining. I'm Adedayo Elushakin. Our topic for this episode: rethinking, recycling, responsibility. Now, take a moment. Think about this. Almost everything we touch in a day, water bottles, food packaging, shopping bags, containers, involves plastic. It's convenient, it's cheap, it's everywhere. And that's exactly the problem. Plastic has built the modern world, but it has also created one of the most persistent environmental challenges of our time, from clogged drainage systems and flooded streets to polluted waterways and degraded ecosystems. The impact of plastic waste is no longer distant. It's immediate, it's visible, and it's local. Today, we're asking a fundamental question. What happens to plastic after we throw it away? And what can we do differently? Again, our topic for this episode of Canvas is rethinking, recycling, responsibility. And my guest is Adam Umar Dutse. Adam Umar Dutse is a circular economy champion and climate advocate with strong expertise in plastic waste management and recycling across Nigeria and Africa, with hands on experience in sustainability, stakeholder engagement, and project management, specializing in sourcing and trading recyclable materials such as PET, HDPE, PP, and LDPE. I don't know what those mean. He'll tell us later. Was passionate about advancing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. ADEM is committed to building a scalable, impact-driven solutions and partnerships that promote a cleaner, greener, and more circular economy. Adam Umar Dutse, hi, welcome to Canvas to Niger Delta Roundtable.
Thank you. And it's an absolute honor to have me here. Thank you.
Great. Adam, great to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
So I have to ask you this. I mean, what made you decide to go into the whole recycling advocacy space? What inspired you?
Okay. What really inspired me is through the calls I had at MGF, Mixed Global Forum, is a foundation of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. I was privileged to be among the students that represents Nigeria.
Okay.
So, and having done that, and then we introduced into circular economy. Yes. And so through that, I realized that some developed countries, they are very keen and very careful in terms of managing their waste. And there are opportunities in the waste sector whereby the recycling aspect of it is there and in use. But coming back here in Nigeria, most people don't care about it. You'll be going around the street or walking by the roadside, you'll be seeing a lot of plastics. Not just plastics and some other waste as well. So it becomes something of concern to an extent that I feel the need to start something internally in our community and also to see how we can be able to maximize it at the national level as well within the country. And another motivation behind this is a friend that works with a project called Blue Cycle in Abuja. He's I think a 300 level student with a group of team in a project to come up with a recycling space in Abuja, which I think they are 4 to 5. They come up together and it really exposes them to reach out to some high profile individuals that are very much interested into the sector, and they develop the business model from scratch to to the finish. And they were able to raise funds to get a facility done, machinery and everything fixed. And I've said, if this can be done by some other people, why not us? So that was another motivation that keeps it, keeps the passion driven to say, yeah, I have to start something quite seriously and to take action instantly. So that's how the motivation behind this gets started. And here I am.
I'm sure that when one considers waste of any kind, a lot of things come to mind. A lot of things are concerning. But when you personally, when you look at plastic waste in the Niger-Delta, in Nigeria, what are your biggest or most pressing concerns?
The biggest concern I have is, how could it be in the 21st century people are not responsible of their waste? You'll be going around, see waste, not just the plastic, see a lot of waste by the roadside, and why not properly manage? First thought. Second thought, whenever I'm passing by as a recycler, I've seen opportunity. I've seen opportunity there. So why do people discard this? Don't they know that they're going to have something out of it, a value out of it? So it gives me that concern, a double concern of why do people not take responsibility of their action in terms of their waste, not to um, control their waste from the source, and also why didn't they know that there is an opportunity to tap into that and get value out of the waste out of it? So it gives me that concern.
Mm.
Yeah.
No doubt, waste management of every kind is a challenge in our environment. But why has waste management, or more specifically, plastic waste management, been a persistent problem? Now, you talk about the people who use, which is all of us, including myself. We don't see the value in it, and take responsibility. But is it my responsibility as an individual, or is it government responsibility to create some kind of system or structure around it? So, what do you think is the biggest challenge? Why has the problem persistently remained? Is it the individual that's the problem, or is it a lack of a system put in place by government?
I think both. Starting with the people. Normally in every household, there should be a waste bin. If you had a waste, it should be properly kept there as it does as your waste bin. And it will be highly preferably to segregate the waste from the source. And also from the government aspect of it, government has been in place for quite long. For example, here in the River State, we have Riwama, which is a River State Waste Management Board, which are responsible for the waste. And we've been seeing it for more than how many years? They have been going around with their trucks to evacuate waste. And what do they normally do? They don't recycle waste, but they transport waste. They transported waste. If you're going towards airport, you see a tons of waste that has been generated there, which every single day they used to go, pick up everything, go and dump it there. Not properly managed. Not properly managed there. So it's something of concern. It's something of concern, which through the government should be aware of that and come up with with a very good solution towards tackling such a kind of problem.
You keep using the word management, responsibility. So I want you to describe now, what does effective waste or effective plastic waste management actually look like? What does it look like? What is that system? What does the structure look like?
Okay. The proper waste management looks like controlling waste from the source. If you're controlling waste from the source, segregating it, supplying it to a nearby recycling facility, which they have all the equipment to process all this material to become a raw material for production. Mostly for the plastics, we have PET material, which are very common. PET stands for polyethylene terephthalate. It's normally all these bottling companies like Lassane and Eva Water and stuff like that. So is the most common among the recycling industry now, and has been, is going very well in terms of the processing it, because we have some many recycling companies close by that they have machinery to process all this material into raw materials. In creating it to make it, in making it to become a raw material for productions, there are two things most companies do. By baling the material, if they don't have the huge capacity to build a large recycling facility, baling it by compacting it as a bale. We call it PET bales. Apart from that, another way of transforming the waste into another form is through flex, by crushing it and undergoes through the washing line and to make it RPET flex. By so doing, it has totally become a raw material for production. So major recycling facilities or major manufacturing companies take such, and they process it and make it a raw material, and they create product out of it. Part of the product that has been created into that, they can, we have two categories of making, processing it. We have fiber grade of material, and then we have food grade material. Fiber grade of material is a little bit low quality, which is a grade B of the material. You can easily produces they can produce like foam, the mattress, pillows, and some certain materials like that. But the high grade or the food grade material, to some extent, they produce B2B material, bottles to bottles. So it requires a very high quality material to be able to do that. So from the source, when it comes to a certain stage, you identify, okay, this material is a food grade or this material is a fiber grade. The fiber grade is quite different from the food grade, despite they are all the same. Despite they're all the same from the same source, but the quality determines. So the food grade is what undergoes a very high qualitable products to be created out of it. Especially, they can still produce the bottle because it requires to be very clean and extremely clean to be able to meet with the expectations. Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so you've described the process from the source. You segregate or separate the waste, and then that's if I get you right. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
So at the source of the waste, you separate or segregate, and then you collect, and then you describe some of the process that goes into it, and even how it's recycled, the different ways or types or styles or formats or systems. I think uh, it seems simple enough what you've described. So if it is that simple, what are then the biggest challenges in our climate, in our environment, in your experience? What is the biggest challenge, or what are the biggest hindrances to us properly recycling our waste if it is this simple?
Okay, definitely, whatever things that has benefit, there are challenges. And quite frankly, there are challenges in the recycling industry as well. Number one is infrastructure. Most recycling business or recycling ecosystem in Nigeria is $100 billion US space due to the high volume of waste we generate in Nigeria. There are key actors in the system, which are the foreign guys. We have the Chinese guys, we have the Arab guys, and we have the Indian guys. They are the one who has the major recycling facilities in Nigeria. So they are foreign-based companies. And for you to establish such kind of structure, it needs funds, quite huge funds, to set everything in place. So because most of them, they have backup and support from their governments and maybe through some other investment stuff, they were able to have all those things in place. So we here, we don't have any government support. Government, they don't care. They are not part of it. But, they are fond of sometimes, creating some policy to see how they can be able to benefit from it. So we don't have the government support in that. So the kind of, the challenge is we don't have the backup, and the fund is quite huge. But due to the passion and the interest to get into the recycling space, there are ways we make it easy through sound knowledge of the recycling and how it works. There are how one can easily get into the system, and as easy as possible, by utilizing the local devices or machineries that is being used with a small amount of money to get it done. We have two major ways of getting into the recycling space without difficulties, which is by having a belly machine or belly machine, also called compacting machine. It's not that expensive, and also another crushing device. So with a small facility like this studio, you can easily have it done. And we have now in the River State here, especially particularly Port Harcourt here, indigenous people that are doing it at the lower scale, and they are quite doing a lot, having capacity of processing more than 50 tons every month with the little they have, and collaborating with the giant, the bigger actors, which are the foreign guys that are operating in Nigeria, to make it more easier. So instead of person sourcing waste from scratch and say he's going to process every channel of it until it gets to the final end, it's going to be difficult if you are not well structured and you have the equipment and the infrastructure to make it done. But to make it easier, we have chain and channels that if you follow through, it will make it more easier for you without any difficulty, just like what I've said earlier. We have the waste pickers, which are the people who go around and pick this waste. Most of them are informal. They pick this waste, and then they have a dump site that they gather it as a collection point. So most of the recycling facilities, what they do through their agent and their marketing department, they can easily collaborate with all these informal waste pickers. By collaborating with these informal waste pickers, after they've gathered their waste to a certain volume, a truck will come, or they will supply as supplied or pick up from the company. The company will now come up with a truck to get this waste from the waste pickers at their dump site or through the aggregators, and then take it to their facility using their local devices they have and machineries to process this material in either bale or crush material.
You know what?
Yeah.
Since you're talking local, let's talk local now. That
Okay.
has particularly piqued my interest.
Okay.
What opportunity? Because I mean, before anybody gets into any venture at any level,
Yeah.
whether at the local small scale level, at the medium scale level, or even those big players you're talking about, first you have to identify an opportunity.
Exactly.
But let's talk at the local small level now. What opportunities exist locally for turning waste into value? Such that the person on the street or wherever can say, okay, there's something here I need to or can get into it. You already touched on that already. I want you to elaborate.
Okay. So I think the opportunities is a lot. First of it, for anyone picking waste on the street, it's not paying, it's free. And knowing that there is value out of it, and whosoever you take it as an off-taker or you supply it to any company, you know you are getting value out of it. The only thing you needed to do is either transportation costs, or you are even there, and then the off-taker comes to your side and take it up. And meanwhile, one person cannot do it all alone. What is being normally done is there are people that will be employed to work in sorting and ensuring the quality control has been looked after, which is it creates job opportunities. And most people and the sorters are women, and engine operators are men. So the inclusion of gender is there. Both genders are there, gender equality, and the job opportunities that are there is another thing on its own.
Okay, so there's those who pick the waste or collect the waste, the off-takers as they call them, and then give to the recycling companies. And at the companies there, you have the, even on a small scale, you have sorters, you have crushers. So what happens after the sorting and the crushing? What are the opportunities there at the local level?
At the local level,
Yes.
yeah, is sorry again?
Are there opportunities for giving new life to these materials at the local level?
Say it again, sir.
Are there opportunities for giving, because you talk about recycling as giving new life to something that's been used. So at the local level, at that base level, are there opportunities for conversion, for giving new life to used materials at the local level?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Okay. We have different ways of creating value out of it locally, right? Remember, in the recycling space, most things are being done informally, right? And the easiest and informal way of creating value out of it locally is through processing it and supplying it and get value out of it. One. Secondly, the formal sector out of it, we do have some partners and also some recycling companies that are into research. Based on the research, we realize, yeah, okay, from this, we can convert it to become this. There is a company called Maximus Recycling Limited here. Solution, it creates solution out of the waste that is being generated. And they are highly against just being processing material as a raw material and then selling it out locally or exporting it as a raw material to other companies. What they do, after conducting a research, they realize that, okay, we can create value out of this locally and we can benefit from it. Instead of supplying to other actors, we can create something that we can use it domestically. So out of it, they convert the normal bottle I've showed you, the PET bottles, into value. The cap of the PET bottle, the cap, bottle caps, is PP propylene. It converted into lubricant grease. Lubricant grease that is used in the for lubrication. And also, he now pure water sachet, which we have in abundance everywhere you see it, we make conversion into wax. And also making another conversion into oil paint, which all these things have been sold locally and people are benefiting from it, and is not that very expensive considering what is going on in the market. So I think this is another important benefit that comes as a result of it locally.
So let me ask you this. So I'm an individual, because you've described what some companies are doing, giving examples. As an individual, I don't have a company, or maybe a group of individuals, friends, whatever it is, acquaintances, business partners, but individuals basically. There's a value chain, right?
Yes.
There's a recycling value chain.
Yeah.
So I want you to trace for me, as an individual, as a regular guy on the street or regular woman on the street, what are the different areas that I can key into? What can I do that can give me value as an individual along that value chain? What are the different areas or different points at which I can enter the recycling value chain that will give me some return?
The value chain, we have them like this: the waste pickers, aggregators, recyclers, and manufacturing companies, right?
Okay.
So all of these things, hundreds of opportunities of getting value out of it lies in them. From the waste pickers, you can be a mediator. If you cannot source the waste, if you cannot pick the waste from the source, you can either buy from the waste pickers. You supply it to the aggregators. Aggregators are typically many companies that transform the waste from one position to another. So you can easily get it and then supply to them. You make money. Apart from that, you that accept or that collected this material from the aggregator, you can make money by working for them. Working in terms of sorting or processing or doing the actual processing through machine use or operating the device to convert it into something, be it bale or flex, which you create value out of it, and then you key into that. And also, as a transporter, if you have a truck, you can key into that as a logistic company, because that is where most of the money goes. Because most of the recycling companies, they are not close by. So you have to transport them. So if you have a logistic company, you can key into that as well and earn from it. Apart from that, then the manufacturing company. If you wish, you don't have a facility, it's an open business, an open space for everyone, especially if you are interested and also you are financially stable to take in charge. But I highly recommend, before anyone to get into that, to have a consultancy from a reliable firm, so that not to go and squander your money uselessly, because it consumes some cash sometimes. So you can easily get into that by funding any aggregator or mini recycling facility that already have their product being processed. Because most people, they find it quite tough and challenging in terms of finances. It's a capital-intensive business, especially if you are dealing with volumes. So instead of you supplying to the manufacturing companies and wait for all the procedures and for the terminologies for you to wait to get paid the next 24 hours or 48 hours or sometimes up to a week, there are agents, individual agents or companies that can take from you and pay you instantly, then take it to the manufacturing companies and earn their margins as well. So all these channels, there are ways you can earn from it. All these ways.
It is Canvas Niger-Delta Roundtable. Rethinking recycling responsibilities what we're discussing. And as you may have guessed, yes, we're focusing on recycling with my guest, Adam Umar Dutse. We'll go for a break. When we return, a conversation will continue. Please stay with us.
In the heart of our journey, where the sun touches the earth and the wind whispers through the trees, a new chapter unfolds. A chapter where energy illuminates more than just bulbs. It lights up minds. A chapter of unity, a coming together with a common goal to energize futures and illuminating lives. In classrooms, young dreams evolve, inspired by the promise of a brighter tomorrow fueled by available energy. Small businesses flourish, becoming seeds of prosperity. Energy that empowers and is catalyst for growth and change. The future is energy. So, let's light up the path to a sustainable future together. Energy for you, me, and the world at large. Energy for people and planet. We are Renaissance.
Welcome back. Still conversing Niger-Delta Roundtable, brought to you by Renaissance. I'm Dio. Still with recycling experts in the studio. Here, Adam Umar Dutse. Good to have you here once again.
Thank you.
We're discussing rethinking recycling responsibility. Absolutely. I was going to mix it up for just a bit. Adam, I'm sure that, there are innovative ways of doing this. There are innovative models of doing this. You talked about your experience in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Was it in Saudi Arabia that you had that program?
It's in Saudi Arabia, but it's a virtual.
Oh, it was virtual. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. So, I'm sure part of that program taught you some models and all of that. So, what are some innovations or innovative models that we can adapt here in the Niger Delta or even Nigeria at large as far as proper waste management or plastics recycling is concerned?
Yeah, I think I already mentioned it previously in terms of converting the plastic material into value instead of just processing it as a raw material and selling out to some other company, foreign companies, for making products and then bring it back to us. So, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of conversion, there are easiest way in which one could easily transform it into value, which similarly to what Maximus Recycling Solution does by converting the plastic waste into lubricant grease and also wax and also creating paint out of it. Though it may sound technical, right?
It does sound
Yeah,
technical.
exactly. So it's not something that you can learn it just by the roadside. You have to go and get the idea and the knowledge on how to do that and convert it. So by having a lot of people that are keen into that, it will create a lot of value out of it as well, I think. Yes.
How do we shift from advocacy? And it's good that you and others like yourself and the advocacy space, trying to get people to understand the need for this and take responsibility. And that word responsibility is even part of the topic as well, deliberately so. How do we go from advocacy to consistent action? How do we make that transition from simply advocating and telling people and reminding them to getting people to act on it?
Most times, advocacy and making noise is very easy, but the implementation of it is quite difficult. So in the recycling space, I think it's very simple. All you need to do, each and every one of us drink water every single day. If you don't take bottled water, you take sachet water. So instead of you throwing away the waste, you can begin as well equally start gathering it for yourself, knowing that there is value out of it. So you having that responsibility of knowing that, okay, there is value out of this, you get it, use it, instead of discarding it like a traditional way of doing things, you now keep it for yourself and then locate any nearby recycling facility and supply it to, and then make money out of it. And thank God now here in the Port Harcourt, we have several recycling space that are close by almost every corner. So it's not something difficult to say, how can I be able to navigate a giant recycling facility to supply this? You have it all around. Yes.
Let's The smallest unit in any society is the family. Right? I mean, you learn that from social studies on similar subjects back in the day, primary, secondary school, even from primary school. So let's start from that unit. What are some of these simple habits that even at family level we can uh, start to imbibe, so to speak, so that such that if this family does it, that family does it, my family does it, your family does it, and then when we accumulate, all the habits of these various families, we can say we properly managing waste, and we have a better environment, a more stable society. So let's start from the family unit. What are some of the simple habits that mother, father, and even children can imbibe, and we can grow from there?
Okay, I think the first thing to put into practice is to take out the mentality that we have of trashing waste anyhow. Knowing that there is value out of waste now, the easiest way to do that, since I already emphasized on the sorting from the source, you can easily have a separate waste bin for your plastics. To some extent, maybe you can have a mosquito net because most people use it to cage and gather a lot of plastic out of it. So the more people are responsible and take it more seriously to be keeping out their waste, the bottle waste into a certain anything that they feel like to reserve it there, be it the mosquito net or any waste bin. And after a certain number of it has been achieved, take it up, supply it to any recycling facility, or you call on them to come for pickup, and you know that there is value out of it. I believe the next day you'll see some other people have started replicating that, which is really happens. to an extent, one of our collection center in the Port Harcourt Township here, most people, before, people don't tend to be part of it. They only assume, okay, it's just Aboki people then. They are the one who get this thing done. But to some extent, when people realize there is value out of it, they started guarding this waste in their own household. After it gets to a certain level, and even the household material is very clean compared to the ones that can easily get it out in the waterways. So they start gathering it, and they know there is value out of it. They supply it to any nearby collection point, and they're happy of what they get. They're able to pay school fees for their kids, and they're able to do one or two things with the result of what they earn. And instead of them throwing out the bottle, they now get revenue. They now get profit out of it. So I think by properly managing or keeping the plastic waste at home, by gathering it and supplying it or calling for pickup, I think it will motivate a lot of people to keep on doing it, which we already have seen the results for now.
Futuristically, maybe I don't know, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, maybe even longer, if we all, or at least most of us, imbibe these practices from our homes as individuals, from the family unit, what does a cleaner, better managed environment look like for you? What will be the result of that?
I imagine the world whereby people would make a paradigm shift of how they manage their waste. Instead of throwing waste indiscriminately, they're responsible for their waste. They are controlling it from source. I look forward to a society whereby we will not be seeing waste at the middle of the road. That will only happen not only through government, but through our mindset as well, to be able to manage waste from the source. So I look forward to the future whereby people know the value attached to waste, and they seize every opportunity that lies into that to use it for their own good and also for the benefit of environment, so that we attain sustainable and clean environment for all.
And what needs to begin to happen now? I mean, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? We have to take that first step. So, what is the first step that we have to take now to embark on this journey?
Do not throw your waste. Do not throw your waste. Use it. Keep it, or let me say, gather it. There is value out of it.
Okay, but I have to throw the waste away eventually. I can't keep it in my house forever.
There are recyclers. You supply or you call on for pickup. They come for you. If you don't have the support for transporting this thing to a nearby recycling facility, you call for pickup. There are companies that are ready for that. They will come to your doorstep and take it up from you and pay you instantly.
Are you suggesting that every home should gather their waste for a recycling company to come pick it up? Don't you have to have a sizable amount of waste for a recycling company to come pick it up at your home?
Definitely there has to be. Definitely there has to be a certain size of the recycling.
Does everybody have the capacity to store waste of that size for recycling to pick the interest of a recycling company?
Whatever size of the material you have on ground as your waste, there are always people that will come for it. A company will not come for a small volume of material because of the transportation cost. Meanwhile, we have make it a tradition that in the rivers here, every Saturdays or every day, Aboki people go around to ask if there is waste in the house, be it any kind of waste, organic waste, food waste, all these things. Out of them, they used to buy the waste, or they exchange their service fee with the plastic waste they will get from you with their cart pushing. So I think there is no any any complaint by saying, no, I don't have as much, so I may not be able to supply it down there. Every single day, advocate people go around. And we know that they are part of the major waste pickers that play a vital role in creating making the waste picking more useful every single day.
I think this is my last question to you, and I think it's very significant because you mentioned these collectors that you referred to as a bookies. Possibly challenge that a lot of us have is paying to dispose our waste. I think a lot of people have a challenge. They've not come to terms that they have to pay to dispose their waste because these waste collectors don't collect them for free. You have to pay what you refer to as a service charge, whatever the amount is that's negotiated. I'd like for you to speak to that. Why should people pay to have their waste collected?
When you asked me previously on how to achieve that, I asked you the mindset matters a lot. And most people think that we don't have time to take this thing and throw it. It's dirty. They have this idea of, no, it's dirty. But these guys, they knew that there is value out of it. Instead of paying to collect from them, they take it for free by making it easier for the other people, for the household, not to take it and not to take it to any recycling facilities. So what should be done? People should be aware that their waste has value. Instead of paying money for it, know that you can control it and you can get paid for it. So it's just a mindset. Just make a paradigm shift of the mindset of paying to be paid and take the waste from you.
All right. On that note, we wrap up this episode of Canvas in Niger-Delta Roundtable. Rethinking recycling responsibility has been the topic for this edition. My guest, Adam Umar Dutse. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And remember, in whatever way that you can, no matter how small, do your best to properly manage your waste. It takes you acting, I'm acting, and of course, government has a role to play as well to preserve our environment. Do have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day and catch this episode and other episodes via our social media platforms. And bye for now.